Call the Kitty Hawk Town Council order this Monday, May 6, 2019, in Kitty Hawk Town Hall. It is now 6 p.m. Welcome to those that will see us later and those that are here tonight. Would you join us for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do you hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Public comment. Anyone signed up?
No, this is not for public comment.
Anyone wish to speak at the first public comment? Anyone? Let the record show no one came forward. All right, consent agenda. Any changes, or do we hear a motion to approve as promulgated?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. All right. We had nothing removed, so now we go into public hearing. All right, I motion we go into public hearing to hear for a text amendment to 4 Tax 6, commercial and non-commercial uses of horses, keeping horses. Does that have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. We are now in public hearing. Would you take it from here, please? Our planner is off doing flood, something with flood. I don't know if it's damage prevention or the latest rules, but that's where he's at. He's in school, so to speak.
That's right, in conference. All right, the text amendment before us tonight is an applicant-based text amendment. This was not submitted, this is not town proposed. This was something that a citizen of our town has asked us to look into. And the presented is what has been come up with regarding this particular text amendment. The proposed amendment would add a new definition for miniature horse, and it would create standards and regulations for keeping miniature horses in Kitty Hawk. The full draft ordinance is attached with the new language in bold print. Essentially, the draft ordinance would maintain that miniature horses would be required to obtain an annual permit, just as standard horse owners are required to do. The proposed subsection 4 Tax 6 (D) 8 would limit the keeping of miniature horses to the village zoning districts. (D) 9 sets a minimum lot size for the keeping of miniature horses at 20,000 square feet and sets a maximum density of 2 miniature horses per acres. It also states that the maximum number of miniature horses on a lot would be 4, meaning if the property was 2 acres or more, the owner could have a maximum of 4 miniature horses on a lot. So, meaning if approved, and Rob's got some bullet points laid out here, which ultimately characterizes what I just went over. I just put some numbers to paper. The basis of this application, as I understand it, is that the applicant believes that provided and attached information on miniature horses, it indicates that a true miniature horse can be distinguished from a standard horse and can be reasonably maintained on as little as 1/4 acre of land. Rob has also made comments regarding the current text amendment and the fact that it's been in place for 19 years, I believe he said, and has made the comment that it has served the town well over the past 19 years. At its March 14, 2019 meeting, the Planning Board did unanimously recommend approval of the requested text amendment with the additional language which is shown in the attached draft language for your review. That's all I have as far as presentation.
Okay. I will add that the current ordinance has gone through a couple of different iterations over the years. And the first iteration basically was in consultation with horse owners. Took a long time to get to a point where they actually did an ordinance. And then it got changed again because some of the wording into it was subject to interpretation, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So it got tightened up a little bit, and we are where we are today. It's been a long-standing trying to get something right to meet both ends of the spectrum. Council, before we ask for any public comment here, do you have anything of Casey? Everything laid out pretty good? You got it? Okay. All right. Time now. Anybody? Mr. Bender, you want to speak?
No, sir. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you had any, but I greatly appreciate any of your consideration on it.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. If you have no other questions and nobody's going to speak, we can go out of public hearing. All right, I motion we go out of public hearing back into regular session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, council, what do you want to do? You can discuss it, make a motion. Anybody?
I'll start. My mother owned and rode horses when I was younger. I owned and rode horses when I was younger. I love horses. And if I had the room and the location, I might buy me a miniature horse. But I really don't believe that we should change currently what we have in place just to accommodate the size of the horse. I will not be supporting the change in the text amendment.
All right, do I hear a motion to that effect?
I'll read it. I move to deny the proposed text amendments to Section 4-6, thus continuing to apply the existing minimum requirements for keeping any kind of horse. Town Council finds that the proposed text amendment is inconsistent with the adopted Cameron Land Use Plan and finds these amendments to be in conflict with the public interest.
Does that have a second?
Second.
All right, any further comment? I have some proposed comments to add into the record before I do that. Anyone else?
I will. I just don't want to blow through this. There was a lot of time spent on this ordinance, and a lot of feelings were hurt in the process. Friends that were friends have now no longer even spoke since then over this ordinance. A lot of time and a lot of research over a long period of time. I'm not a horse person, and so my reasoning is I feel like they addressed the miniature horse issue in the ordinance. It wasn't overlooked. And for that reason, I think that I have to go with the advice of the horse owners that set their own set of rules. And I don't know why they chose the size they did. Comparing it to somewhere else, our soil is not the same. I don't know if the horse owners felt that they needed more area so that the soil would not be saturated, and because that was a problem. There was a horse pen right by my house that created the beginning of this, and the horses were in terrible conditions there when it would rain, and the soil here, after they trampled it for a period of time, it couldn't hold them up anymore. And so I don't know if that's the reason, but I think that they came up with this number, and I feel like I have to go with what the horse owners themselves set as their standard. So that's just my reasoning.
All right.
I agree with Jeff and with Craig. I feel like any horse, whether it's a big horse or a small horse, requires pasture for adequate living space. I don't feel that they should be housed in dog-sized areas such as backyards. It is simple enough for the manure to be shoveled, but it's very difficult to get rid of the urine odor, and I speak from personal experience on that. So I too am against it.
Do you have anything?
The only thing I can say is I spent a lot of time doing a lot of research, did a lot of reading, have friends with horses, talked with them about it, talked with a lot of folks, and one of the questions I asked them was, how would you feel in your neighborhood if there was a miniature horse next door? And several of them didn't have an opinion. Several of them said, this neighborhood is no place for a miniature horse. Our lots aren't big enough. It's too close to the other houses. My kids wouldn't be happy. a variety of things. The horse ordinance, and I remember the agony people went through working on that horse ordinance over the years, and I just think that we need to stand behind it.
Okay. All right. I agree with all your comments. I have some, and Lynn, I'll give you these when I finish. These are my tiny horse ordinance comments. As the population and density of Kitty Hawk has grown, conflict between increasing close together homeowners and animals of either domestic or wild are more difficult to resolve, whether through regulation or negotiation. Previous town councils have attempted to grandfather continued use of historic ownership of domestic animals within the town with negotiated regulation to limit conflict. In the case of horses, the current ordinance is a culmination of several different attempts to legislate through common sense a usable regulation. Although not perfect by some folks' measure, it continues to serve reasonably well. Now, council has a request to add to the current ordinance something entirely new that has no known precedence from historical use of domestic animals in the town of Kitty Hawk. From that perspective, council has an obligation to consider how this new entry of farm animals affects neighboring properties with regard to noise, odor, or other objectionable issues. The reason this proposed ordinance is even before council is due to complaint concerning introduction of a domestic farm animal into a residential neighborhood. Further, allowing this ordinance to pass would allow similar use of property throughout the village, regardless of impact to adjacent property owners, and more importantly, without adjacent property owner prior knowledge. Whether we like it or not, change and density has occurred to the town of Kitty Hawk. Historical use in some cases is no longer compatible with that change and density. Allowing the passage of this proposal will set in motion conflict between adjacent property owners, yet unknown, and is not in the best interest of the town as a whole. I will not vote for it either. All right. We have a motion to deny and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. The horse has to go. New business. Proposed bathhouse renovations. Basically, what we're talking about, you want to do this?
Yeah, I don't mind.
I thought you were going to be gone.
That's fine. No, I appreciate it.
for it.
No, I can do this one. The town staff has requested Cahoon and Caston Architects to draft a proposal to develop a set of construction plans for the bathhouse renovation project that's currently scheduled in our next fiscal year, 2019-2020. One of the reasons we need to get some sketches of the building and some construction plans is so we're able to bid that project out, because it is going to be quite an extensive renovation. So it will need a set of plans in order to bid the project effectively. Some things, we'll let the council look at the renovation project, obviously, the drawings before we approve and move forward with the reconstruction of the bathhouse. But right now, some of the proposals was to give the Ocean Rescue just a little bit more space, nothing extravagant, but while we're there making some improvements, go ahead and make some improvements for that little office building that's there for the Ocean Rescue and lifeguards as well, and then reconstruct the building out of some more durable materials and kind of also give it some plumbing improvements, and basically a facelift is what the bathhouse really needs. So the cost to start with this project is estimated at $9,500 for the design and construction drawings for the bathhouse. So that's what we're here this evening, is to request approval to allow them to go ahead and begin these drawings in advance of the budget. That way, once the budget years begins, we'll be able to hopefully bid this out and start the project in the wintertime, so we're not disrupting the bathhouse in the summer. So it's kind of getting ahead of the
It's
game.
going to be a big project.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You got to wonder when he gets through if he tells us to tear it down and start over.
That could be,
That wouldn't surprise me a bit. All right, do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Cahoon and Caston Architects to draft construction drawings for the bathhouse renovation project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. All right. All right. Town manager, you got anything for us?
No, I've got no comment.
Okay. And town attorney?
Nothing from me, Mayor.
All right. Town council, you got anything? I do have one thing, but
I do.
go.
I'm addressing this to the mayor and to the members of town council. It's with regret, I must inform you that I've decided not to seek election for my appointed position on the Kitty Hawk Town Council. I've found that the demands and responsibilities to my family and family businesses won't allow me to fulfill my duties as councilwoman to the fullest extent needed. I do plan to serve out my appointment time, if you all will permit me. And I want to say that I've enjoyed working with all the members of council, as well as with the great town staff members and the members of the Recreation Committee. I thank you for all helping me. I only hope that I've been of some value to the town during my short time on the council.
Well, sorry to hear that. When you called me today, it did come kind of as a shock to me. I wasn't expecting it. But you got to do what you got to do. We understand that. You'll be missed, for sure. And yeah, you're obligated till tenure's up. We're not gonna let
Work me like a dog.
you- Yeah, we're not going to do that. So you're going to have to stick it out. All right. Anybody else? Jeff, you got anything?
No, I don't.
Lynn?
I do.
Thank you for your service, Tina.
It's been my pleasure.
And your continuing service.
There you go.
Well, I'm always here to help.
All right.
We have a few boards and committees.
Okay. And I have one more thing, and this was brought to me at the last minute, but it's a proclamation. And it's a proclamation of the 50th anniversary of Municipal Clerks Week. It runs from May 5th through 11th of 2019. Our clerk has been here 32 years. I think that's a record. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir.
So 40 years later, we'll be... So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to give it to Lynn, because she knows where everything's at. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the office of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk, now therefore, I, Gary Perry, Mayor of the town of Kitty Hawk, do recognize the week of May 5th through May 11, 2019 as Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, Lynn U. Morris, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent, dated this 6th day of May, 2019. Thank you for your service. And you can't leave for at least 2.5 more years. All right. So, public comment. This is the last public comment before we go into a special session. Anyone? Let the record show. No one came forward. Now I motion to go into closed session for North Carolina General Statute 143, TAC 318.11, Parent A, Parent 1, approve closed session minutes September 4, 2018, and also North Carolina General Statute 143, TAC 318.11, A parent, 3 parent, to preserve the attorney-client privilege concerning possible legal action. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we got to kick everybody out of the room, I'm sorry.